We've had several incidences here in California that both have seen video tapes of protests going horribly wrong, and I've read newspaper stories of them going horribly wrong. In the post-training, are there any circumstances in which it's advisable that law enforcement not engage? For example, we saw people here in the Capitol show up in masks to break up a skinhead protest, and the skinhead protest probably would have gotten no attention whatsoever, except for all these people that showed up masked. And they came with cinder blocks, and they dropped them on the ground. It was videotaped. They took the chunks of concrete and started throwing them. They broke some of the windows of the Capitol. And then it was just a food fight. In fact, one of the TV stations was chased out of the area. They assaulted the reporter. They assaulted the cameraman. They were going after other folks. And yet we had law enforcement, and excuse the pun, sitting on their high horse watching this. And we didn't see any from the news coverage engagement whatsoever. Now they're prosecuting people through the videotaping on the UC Berkeley campus. Again, masked people coming in, breaking up the campus. From the videotape taken, and mind you, it's a lot of cameras on phones, and so you're only getting that view. It could be completely different when you have more views to look at. But the newspaper stories also aligned with the videos that were taking of law enforcement observing but not enforcing the law. And yet, you know, we had hundreds of thousands of dollars of damage on the campus. And if this is a post-practice, I'm trying to get an understanding of, is this because they think it'll escalate it further, or is this somebody's decision locally that's decided, or the officers have been informed not to do their job? But when I see people being assaulted, and I see law enforcement sitting idly by while this is occurring, it really scares me. In fact, after the Berkeley situation, I wrote a letter to the pro tem asking to have a hearing like this so that we could review these practices, because I think it's for the public to see, and it's very disconcerting on a college campus where we promise to take care of people's children and give them a safe learning environment, that the police that are present are not enforcing the law. It's concerning. So I was hoping that you would address that, and to me, this is a very pivotal issue. But we talked about some of these protesters, and what I found in the last year that was so shocking to me, and from observing from the outside in, is it's not the person that got the permit to protest, it's the counter-protesters who show up with the weapons. Because the people that are permitted know they're not supposed to bring weapons. I'm not saying that they didn't, because I also read that some of them said, I know I'm not supposed to bring them, but I'm bringing them because I'm afraid that law enforcement, I don't want to take a cheap shot at law enforcement, but they were afraid that the counter-protesters would be more armed than they were, and that they didn't feel that they were safe. So are we seeing, are these really locals who are showing up in masks to protest, or are these people from outside the area? They're coming in for a specific purpose. I mean, do you notice a difference in who's protesting or creating the havoc in the protests? There's a strong argument that my free speech may be jeopardized if I have to take that mask off. But there's absolutely no reason that I have a weapon in my hand. And perhaps an enhancement using a weapon with a mask would be a better solution than trying to outlaw any kind of mask. Because I think that we can work so hard at the free speech that we eliminate the free speech. And the mask is part of the free speech, in my opinion. But nowhere in the free speech do I believe that there's anything to do with I get to hold a weapon. And I think that that's probably the focal point that I'd like to focus in on. Madam Chair, thank you so much for allowing me to ask so many questions.